She thought she had control until you vanished. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly what happens when a woman realizes you're truly gone and why it changes everything. 1. She never questioned with the comfort of your presence. You were always there, your attention, your support, your presence. She didn't just enjoy it, she relied on it. But here's the problem. She got comfortable. She assumed you were a constant, that no matter what, you'd always be there. And the moment she believed that, something dangerous happened. She stopped feeling the urgency to appreciate you. And then, she tested you. Not out of malice, not even consciously, but because she wanted to see. Would you chase? Would you prove her right? And the second you did, the balance shifted. She knew she had you. And when a woman knows you're hooked, your value in her mind drops. But the moment you stop chasing, everything flips. Your silence isn't just an absence, it's a void that pulls at her, gnaws at her, forces her to face something she never expected. You were never a guarantee, you were a choice. And now, that choice is no longer hers. For the first time, she's not in control. And for the first time, she realizes she might have lost you forever. 2. The emotional void hits harder than expected. At first, she feels nothing. No panic, no regret. Just the quiet confidence that you'll come back, that you'll break first. Some women even put on a show, smiling, laughing, posting pictures as if nothing happened, as if you never mattered. But make no mistake, she feels the shift. She drowns the silence in distractions, endless scrolling, nights out, throwing herself into work. She does everything to convince herself and the world that she's just fine. But here's the truth. Nothing replaces you. Nothing fills the space you left behind. Men and women handle loss differently. A man dissects it, what went wrong, what he could have done differently. A woman? She feels it first. The void before the understanding. And that void? It doesn't hit all at once. It sneaks up on her. A song comes on, the one you both loved. She walks past a place where you laughed together. She scrolls through her phone and there it is. Your name, your words, a memory frozen in time. And suddenly a thought slips in, uninvited. Did I make a mistake? The certainty she once had, gone. The security she felt, shattered. Now doubt seeps in, regret whispers. 3. When she realizes you've moved on. This is the moment that changes everything. At first, she's confident. She expected you to reach out. She assumed you'd chase. She thought you'd fight to win her back. But instead, you did nothing. No calls, no messages, no last words. You simply vanished. At first, she convinces herself it's just a tactic, that you're playing a game. Eventually, you'll cave and come running back. But then, time passes. Too much time. And suddenly, she notices. You're not checking up on her. You're not liking her posts. You're not reacting to her stories. You're just gone. And that's when it hits her. She starts questioning everything. Did I misjudge him? Was he actually a better man than I thought? Is he moving on with someone else? And those thoughts? They don't just pass, they spiral. Because now, it's no longer about missing you. It's about losing you to someone else. And that's when regret turns into obsession. 4. The fear of being replaced. Nothing shakes a woman more than the thought of being replaced. Not just losing you, losing her place in your mind. At first, she was fine. She told herself you'd come back. Maybe she even convinced herself you were still thinking about her. But then, she sees something. Maybe a friend casually mentions that you're doing just fine without her. Maybe she stumbles across a picture, you, laughing, carefree, with someone else. Or maybe she realizes the unthinkable. You've stopped caring, entirely. And suddenly the tables turn. Now she's the one watching. She's the one checking your social media. She's the one replaying old conversations, grasping at the moments when you were hers. And now, you're not. But here's the truth, this fear, it's not just jealousy, it's ego. She doesn't just want you back, she wants to know she still has power over you. So what does she do? She tests the waters. A random like on your post, a message out of nowhere, a weak attempt to catch up. And in that moment you hold all the power. Now the choice is yours. Re-engage or keep moving forward. 5. The power of indifference. This is the moment where everything changes, not for her but for you. Because by the time she finally sees your worth, you've already moved past it. You don't need her validation. You don't crave her attention. And you sure as hell don't need to go back. Something inside you has shifted. You're no longer wondering if she's thinking about you. You're not checking her social media. You're not waiting for closure. You're too busy living. And ironically, that's when she wants you the most, because deep down she knows. She had something rare. She let it slip away. And now she has to live with that choice. 6. The silent shock. When reality hits her. At first she brushes it off. Your silence is temporary. He's probably just busy. He'll be back. She convinces herself it's just a phase. But then, days turn into weeks, and something shifts. Your absence is no longer a game, it's no longer a tactic, it's real. This is the silent shock. The moment she realizes, you're not just stepping back. You're gone. Now the questions flood in. Did I push him away? Did I take him for granted? Did I make the wrong choice? She tries to block it out. She surrounds herself with friends, engages in mindless conversations, maybe even jumps into something new. But something feels off. The laughter doesn't hit the same. The conversations feel hollow. And no one, not a single one, makes her feel the way you did. And then, a brutal realization sets in. It wasn't just you that left. It was the version of herself that she was when she was with you. Now, she's stuck with something she can't escape. Regret. Her usual coping mechanisms. Useless. Other men. Forgettable. She tells herself she made the right choice, but deep down, a small voice whispers, "What if I was wrong?" That doubt, it doesn't fade, it grows. With every day she doesn't hear from you. With every moment she expects a message, but it never comes. And that's when she feels the sting. You weren't just a part of her life. You were a constant, and now, there's just emptiness. Just 7. She starts watching you from a distance. At first she fights it, resists the urge. She tells herself she doesn't care, that checking your social media is beneath her, that she's moved on. But then, the silence stretches, too long. And curiosity? Curiosity always wins. She starts scrolling, casually at first, or so she tells herself. But deep down, she's searching. Does he still miss me? Is he still single? Or has he moved on? And the more she doesn't find what she's looking for, the more restless she becomes. Now she's analyzing everything, your posts, your pictures, the comments, the people you interact with. Every detail matters. And then, the breaking point. She sees another woman. Maybe it's just a tag, a passing moment, a hint of something she wasn't prepared for. And suddenly, the panic sets in. Did he upgrade? Does he even think about me anymore? What if he found someone better? And that's the worst part. She can't do anything about it. She's watching from the shadows, but she can't reach out. She doesn't want to seem desperate. So she waits, hoping, praying, that somehow you'll notice her. But when you stay silent, when you continue moving forward without her, that's when things take a darker turn. 8. The jealousy takes over. She never thought it would happen, not to her. She was the one who ended things. She was the one who pulled away. She convinced herself she could move on effortlessly. But now, she's burning. Because there's one thing she never admitted to herself. She expected you to stay available. She thought, no matter what, you'd still be there. That you were hers to lose. but never really lost. And that thought, it eats at her. Now she's checking your profile more than ever. Every update, every post, every comment, a dagger to her pride. And every time she sees something new, it stings. Curiosity turns to frustration. Frustration turns to full-blown jealousy. And the worst part, she can't show it. She can't text you demanding answers. She can't ask if you've moved on. She can't admit that she's losing it. So instead, she plays games. She posts stories designed to make you jealous. She starts liking old pictures, hoping you'll take the bait. Maybe she even sends a random message, casual, meaningless, just to see if she can still get a reaction. But the moment she realizes you're not biting, that's when her emotions spiral completely out of control. 9. The late-night realization. She won't admit it. Not to you, not even to herself. But she feels it. Not during the day, when distractions are everywhere. Not when she's out, laughing with friends, pretending she's fine. But at night, when the world quiets down, when the noise fades, when it's just her and her thoughts. And that's when it hits the hardest. She tries to fight it. She tells herself she's happy, she's moved on, she doesn't care. But deep down, she knows the truth. Because now she's staring at the ceiling, drowning in memories she can't escape. The way you used to laugh together. The way you understood her without her even speaking. The way she felt when she was with you. A feeling no one else has given her since. And the most painful thought of all? She can't just reach out like before. Her pride won't let her. Because she's the one who let you go. And worse, if she does reach out, she risks rejection. But the silence, it's unbearable. So what does she do? She starts dropping hints. A late-night "I miss you" text, a random reaction to an old story, a weak excuse to start a conversation. Because at this point, she just wants to know one thing. Do you still care? And when she doesn't get the response she expected, that's when she finally feels the full weight of her loss. 10. When she wants you back. But it's too late. By the time she fully realizes what she lost, you've already moved forward, and that's when the ultimate shift happens. She might reach out, testing the waters with a casual message, a weak excuse to reconnect. But let's be clear, it's not about fixing things. She's not reaching out because she wants to make things right. She's reaching out because she wants to know, does she still have control? And when she realizes she doesn't, that's when the regret hits the hardest. Because now, it's too late. By the time she sees your worth, you've already found something better. And here's the real power shift. You don't seek her validation anymore. You don't feel the need to chase. You've built a life that doesn't revolve around her. And that's what drives her crazy. At the end of the day, the only thing more powerful than making a woman miss you is realizing you don't need her to. 11. She tries to fill the void, but nothing works. When a woman loses someone valuable, her first instinct isn't to face the pain, it's to escape it. She doesn't want to sit in the discomfort of missing you. She doesn't want to admit she made a mistake, so she distracts herself. More nights out, more social media, more meaningless conversations, maybe even a rebound, something, anything, to convince herself she's moving on. But here's the problem. None of it works, because of the void she feels. It's not just about losing a person, it's about losing you. The comfort, the security, the connection. Now no one makes her laugh the way you did. No one understands her like you did. Conversations feel forced and shallow, nothing like what she had with you. And the more she tries to replace you, the more painfully obvious it becomes. You weren't just someone. You were someone irreplaceable. That's when the frustration sets in. Why can't she just let go? Why isn't this as easy as she thought? She was so sure she could move on without a second thought. But here she is, still thinking about you. And that realization, it eats away at her. 12. The regret turns into obsession. At first, it was just regret, a passing thought, a fleeting memory. But now, Now it's something deeper. Now it's obsession. She's no longer just missing you. She's consumed by you. Old memories won't stop replaying in her mind. She overanalyzes every conversation, every moment, every detail. She starts romanticizing what you had, rewriting history, forgetting why things even ended. And the worst part? She has no control over it. It creeps in when she least expects it. She could be out with friends laughing, but then a song plays. She could be scrolling through her phone, and suddenly, an old picture of you two appears. She could be on a date, smiling, pretending to be present, but the guy across from her says something, and in that instant, she wishes it was you. The more she tries to suppress these thoughts, the stronger they become. Because now, you're in her head, and she doesn't know how to stop thinking about you. And when a woman starts obsessing over a man she was convinced she was over, she starts acting in ways even she doesn't understand. 13. She creates a reason to reconnect. At this point, she's craving a connection with you, but there's a problem: her pride. She can't just text you out of nowhere. She can't just admit she misses you. That would mean surrender. So instead, she finds an excuse. Maybe she suddenly remembers something she needs from you. Maybe she sends a random text about a topic that doesn't even make sense. Maybe she likes an old post, hoping, praying, that it triggers you to reach out first. But make no mistake, this is a test. She wants to know, do you still care? Do you still react to her? Does she still have power over you? And if you respond quickly, if you entertain her small talk like nothing ever happened, if you act as if she never left, she wins. But if you stay unbothered, if your responses are short, cold, or non-existent, that's when the panic sets in, because now she feels something she never expected: powerless. And the more she realizes you're no longer playing her game, the more desperate she becomes to regain control. 14. The emotional breakdown. When it truly hits her. This is the collapse. The moment her own mind turns against her. For weeks, maybe even months, she's been living in denial, telling herself she's fine, convincing herself she's moved on, repeating the same lie over and over. He'll come back. But then, it hits. And this time, there's no escaping it. Because you're not reaching out. You're not chasing. You're not checking in. You're gone. And that's when the dam breaks. Maybe it starts with an empty stare at the ceiling. Maybe it's a sudden wave of emotions she can't control. Then, the tears come. Not just sadness. Not just regret. And the pain of knowing she can never get it back. That's the real heartbreak. If this hit home, like the video and subscribe. And if you want to see what happens next when you fully move on, watch the video on your screen right now.